game in the Big Easy, the Hardline. Ari Timken, Eric Messersmith from Radio Row, San Antonio sports leader, 1250 ESPN, San Antonio.
Scott Van Pelt with us here on the Hardline, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, ESPNSA.com. We won't tell you that we start at 2 Central Time, which means that the last hour of the Scott Van Pelt show at ESPN San Antonio isn't on the air.
Well, that's that part of the show we don't even try.
You've given up by then, right?
Yeah, we don't even try. We call it the Let's Get Weird hour, and so, I mean, that's fine. The 2 hours, the first 2 hours we invest our effort in, so that's fine. That's fine. If they punt on our show in your market, I understand.
Well, we only have 2 hours, and we pretty much mail it in for those 2 hours anyway. So.
As you should. Steal money until they figure it out.
Absolutely, especially on this trip. So we're here today, and the first 2 days here on Radio Row was kind of dead. There weren't a lot of people here, and now today, it's packed, a lot of big names going around, and you're making the rounds too. Talk about what this experience is like of people just going around, and you said it's like sharks in a tank.
Yeah, it's chum in the water, and it's like I look up and I see Brian Billick. Here's a guy that coached a team that won the Super Bowl. If you're some market wherever you are, at San Antonio, or wherever, and there's Brian Billick, okay, well, I would understand, like, if your producer's like, hey, do you have 2 minutes for the boys in San Antonio? I understand that. But when people see me, and it's like you see them, there's this vague recognition of, well, like, we've got the 145 segment open. It's like this is pitiful. Look at what our lives are reduced to. Like that, you've got to come ask me to come fill time on your sorry network. Like not you. I mean, obviously, you guys.
This
are
is
great.
ESPN,
but
right?
The other ones, it's like no. I mean, but I'm sincere when I say this. Like none of us should be reduced to this, and that's what it turns into. And so, I mean, when we come over here, we have a very sort of specific. I'm going to go see all of our friends across the country. They're kind enough to carry us, and even the ones that don't, that are ESPN affiliates. But it's a zoo, man, and we're not here. We're over on the Jack's Brewery lot, which is over down in the quarter. So we're separated from this, but it's such a bizarre experience to me, the whole thing.
What do you do when the people come up and grab you by the arm, or do you let them down easy?
I mean, I always say I'm a mirror. I'm as polite to you as you are to me. And if somebody's kind, like I saw my dear friend Art Spander, who's a Hall of Fame writer who covers golf, and Art just wanted to say hello. I'm happy to see Art. But then some guy from Winnipeg says, you were on last year and you said this and that, and I'm thinking, all right, have a nice day. I mean, I don't know. It's just this experience, this place is just a spectacle to me. The Radio Row.
It really, to say the NFL is just it's a sports league, and then you come here and you're like, oh my goodness, we haven't even talked about the game yet. I've been here for 3 days.
Catherine Webb was the biggest story of media day.
What was?
Catherine Webb being there.
Oh, was she there?
AJ McCarron, yeah.
So everyone was really bummed out that Brent Musburger acknowledged that she existed. Her life's really gone off the rails since then.
Didn't work out.
Yeah, exactly. And all those people that were so upset about how she'd been objectified and whatever else. She's clearly upset since she's going to be on Dancing with the Stars and be in Sports Illustrated's magazine, swimsuit issue, and all the rest.
And Inside Edition now for the Super Bowl.
Is that right?
That's what she's working that with them for a week.
I sure hope she's okay.
What do you make of the Manti Te'o story? New revelations today about this Tuiasosopo character.
I said on the show last week, like there's the 5 stages of anger. There's denial, there's anger, depression, bargaining, and then acceptance. There's 5 stages of the Te'o for me. Was denial, like no way. Then fascination. Then there was a frustration, and I finally got angry. I'm like, enough. And then I finally succumbed to just good. I love it. Make it as weird as you can. Well, now, today with this, like, here's what we've reached. This is the sad thing, fellas. We've reached a place in our life, in our society, where some guy who creates an alter ego on the internet is on with Dr. Phil talking about whether or not he's gay. I mean, God bless everyone. I just want everyone to be happy. I don't care this much about this story. And by this much, listeners, my fingers are real close together. I just don't care about it at all.
The top headline on ESPN.com today was Dr. Phil Tuiasosopo was in love with Teo.
Right. On Super Bowl week. If I'd have told you that 3 months ago, that on Super Bowl week, the headline on ESPN.com would be about this story.
Can we just pound absinthe and get drunk? I mean, seriously,
well,
because
we
might as well be at this point. I read one paragraph on the air today, and I said, this is it. I'm done with this. He's saying, well, there were times when Lene and Manti would break up, and this is Tuiasosopo talking about a person who didn't exist breaking up with a guy. I mean, what are we freaking doing, guys? Let's talk about the Spurs. Let's talk about the Super Bowl. Let's talk about anything but this.
Let's talk about the Spurs. Nationally, the impression of the Spurs is
they're
old.
Same as it always is.
But beyond the nobody talks about them, the Spurs. Look, it's not. To me, it's less about San Antonio's market and more about that's what they want. That's what Pop and R.C. Buford and the ownership. They don't want attention being drawn to them.
Nope.
But the national perception, Scott, is that they are old, that how are they still doing this? But when you look locally at this team, I mean, Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green, the young pieces they've infused, plus 3 blocks a game from Tim Duncan at his age.
People are dumb. We know this. What are we talking about? This Teo story, which fascinates the masses. National, and I know you don't, and I know Pop doesn't, but who cares what people nationally think of your team? They don't know San Antonio. The team's not shiny and new. It's not the fun thing to talk about.
Quite the opposite.
All I do is win. That's all you guys do. I mean, all you do is win, and that's all I would worry about. Now, are there matchups in the playoffs that would be frightening? Sure, maybe. I mean, the Clippers' youth and bounce in the front court, okay. Same thing you could say about the Thunder. I don't know that they're better than either one of those teams, but I'll take my chances if I'm San Antonio. I know there are very few known entities in sports. The Spurs are a known entity. They're going to win, I don't know, 50-something games. They're going to be one of the top 3 seeds, and then it's going to be, can you win 4 out of 7 against a younger team? That's all it boils down to. And nationally, are people more interested in talking about other teams? Fine. If I'm San Antonio, I'm just talk about whoever you want. We'll be over here winning games. That's what we do year after year after year.
Is there a parallel in your mind between what the Spurs have done, the continued success with the Patriots?
That's interesting. I mean, they both got 3. It's been a while. When was the Spurs' last title?
2007.
Right. Okay. And
they're the 2 winningest franchises in major pro sports in the last 15 years.
Yeah, and you know what? The Patriots haven't won since 2004. The Spurs.
Spurs have 4.
And that's right. I beg your pardon. I shorted you one. And when's the last time the Spurs made the finals?
The year they won it.
Yeah, I think it was 2007.
They haven't been there since. For the Patriots, they've been to the Super Bowl on a couple times since and haven't won. It's an interesting question you ask, and I'm not stalling to punt on the question. I think that there's probably parallels, and I'd never considered it. And that's my fault as a national media person, not realizing that they're one of the gold standards, and they're there every year with a championship aspiration. That's really interesting. I never thought of that.
Our lead-in, Scott Van Pelt, joining us here on the Hardline. So there is a game this week, as well as all the other fiasco and stuff going on. What's your sense of how the game may go? Where do you think one team might have a big advantage or an advantage at all?
I like Baltimore. I've liked them throughout the playoffs. I picked them against Denver to win outright. People thought I was nuts. I can't remember if I picked them outright, if I just wanted them plus the points against New England. Whatever the hell it was, I picked them. I think Flacco is fearless. He's not afraid to throw deep. I mean, he threw on Champ Bailey, fine. Throwing on New England, their secondary stinks to begin with. This San Francisco secondary got gashed by Atlanta. The O-line of Baltimore has been phenomenal. We had Brett Kiesel and his beard from Pittsburgh on today, and we said, is there something that you look at in this game that you think is a real strength? And he goes, look, we play Baltimore twice a year. Their offensive line is really, really good. And Flacco's he's going to throw the ball early and often, and I think they're going to take shots deep. That's what Baltimore does. And I continue to like Baltimore. There's a million things to like about San Francisco. Harbaugh is a fascinating story. He just doesn't care. I think 2 weeks to figure out some kind of a way to slow down what San Francisco is trying to do is a real benefit. But then again, boys, this year the league has become college offense has become all the rage, and no one's figured it out all season. So does a week suddenly give Baltimore the blueprint? I don't know. I've liked them all year. I don't know if I'm being stubborn or if I'm just kind of sticking with what I've liked all along, and that's the fearlessness of Flacco, the fact that they're going to throw the ball, the fact that he's going to give his guys chances to make plays, whether it be Bolden or Smith. I like them.
Scott Van Pelt, of course, the SVP and Rosillo show. That's SVP and Rosillo now, right?
It is. We changed the name, and just a point of reference there for you folks in San Antonio. That was when my deal was up in the spring. I said, here's what I want, and here's what I want for our show. I want my partner's name on the show because he's earned it. You guys have a show. It's a collaboration, right? So was ours, and it always has been. I was a more known name because I've been there longer, but it was important to us that the show name reflect what the show is, which is the two of us together. And so, the folks in San Antonio that listen, they have an idea of that. But long-winded answer, yes, that's the name of the show. What
do you enjoy about doing radio daily?
It's the best. Sports Center is it's still I think the show of record when it comes to sports in America, but it's a different time. When Dan and Keith did the show originally, you couldn't watch a highlight on your phone. I mean, it was a phone. Now it's everything.
Sports Center was appointment TV.
Of course
it was.
Well, now it's we occupy a different time, and the show as a result can't be what it once was. It's still fun to do that, but for me, what radio affords you the opportunity to do every day is to do what you guys do, to have an opinion. On Sports Center, I mean, we're all fans. We all got there because we were passionate about it. But to me, on radio, I can tell you what I think. I can say today, I think A-Rod stinks and the Yankees want to get rid of him because he's awful and they owe him a ton of money. And if they can find some clause and the language of the contract to get out from under it, they can do that. I can't say that on Sports Center. But all of us have opinions. That's why we do what we do. So radio gives you the forum to express what you think. It is weird when you have to do Sports Center. There's still a line you have to straddle. I can't just be like a Colin. I can't just go totally off reservation because if I have to put on a tie and a jacket and do Sports Center that night and handle that story, I still weigh how all in I want to go on things. But still, this forum provides an opportunity for the fan in me, which is very real, to come out.
What about New Orleans? You obviously get to travel a lot in your job. This city's got a lot to offer. What do you like about it?
I gave you boys some places to go. Last night we had a very New Orleans experience. We went to a restaurant called Jacquemo's, which is a spot that comes highly recommended by locals. And then right next to that there's a bar called the Maple Leaf where the Rebirth Brass Band, who's a Grammy Award-winning act from here, plays. So we got a meal that was heavy on sauces. And then we went next door and 9 dudes with horns and drums were playing until the early hours of the morning. And I mean, look, man, we stayed late. I'm not as young as I used to be. I don't go out and get hammered and act like an idiot. But we stayed out late because I'm in New Orleans and I want to experience not Bourbon Street, not do the tourist routine. Go where the locals go, enjoy the local fare, and New Orleans it's a fun town, and it's built to entertain us. That's what they do here. But to you guys, I would say, go off the beaten path, find out some places like that where you can experience what a true New Orleans night or week is like.
Scott Van Pelt, SVP and Rosillo, 12 to 2 on 1250 ESPN San Antonio every single day.
And the Let's Get Weird Hour on ESPNRadio.com if you want an alternative to these guys. If you don't like the direction of the show, you can check out the Let's Get Weird Hour. I'm just giving people an option, but I think they should listen to you guys.
Thanks so much for your time, Scott.
Thanks for hanging out, Scott.